Welcome to Tried by Fire, where we... have a Bible study.
Yay!
In case you don't know how this works, we have usually 3 different sections, sometimes maybe 4, sometimes 2. It just depends on my mood. We'll have different Bible study videos on the same exact topic, so be sure to come back next week. I try and split them up so that way they're easy to swallow. Melody's not in this one because she just didn't want to do it. If you liked Melody,
well,
too bad.
Sorry.
She doesn't like you. Today we're in John chapter 4, verses 24 to 30, which says, God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. The woman saith unto him, I know that Messiah cometh, which is called Christ. When he is come, he will tell us all things. And Jesus saith unto her, I that speak unto thee am he. And upon this came his disciples and marveled that he talked with the woman. Yet no man said, What seekest thou? Or why talkest thou with her? The woman then left her water pot and went her way into the city, and saith to the men, Come, see a man which told me all things that ever I did. Is not this the Christ? Then they went out of the city and came unto him. Today's episode is called He is Real. Through this series, I want to look at a few things while we dig deep into this. Number 1, I want us to look deeply into my favorite of the 4 Gospels, which is the book of John. And though this is one of 4 books, all the books of the Gospels really complement each other very well, filling in some gaps that one author may not have seen, or giving a same situation from a different perspective. And number 2, I want us to see the different times Christ uses parables or everyday situations or objects to describe who he is. We too can take a look around at simple things to help us explain to the lost who Christ really is and simplify it for them. God is not a simple being. He isn't easily explained, as we saw last week with his sovereignty, which if you haven't, you should go watch that. But he uses the simple things to explain the majesty of himself. Number 3, I want us to apply these to our personal walk, to further grow in coming to know Christ better in the simple things of life, and to also have the ammunition we need when someone asks the questions that you aren't exactly sure about how to answer.
True worship.
Verse 24 says, God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Worship comes from the Greek word proskuneo, which means do reverence to or to adore. The word worship is used in the Bible 108 times and doesn't always ascribe significance to God. Some of the terms for worship were directed to Satan, as the dragon in Revelation. Revelation 13 verse 4, it says, And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Some were used to ascribe worship to possessions or money or things that people held dear to them. Worship is not just meant for the church. Worship must be a daily routine in order for it to be sincere.
Worship ascribes worthship. 1 Peter 3 verses 8 through 10 says, Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another. Love as brethren, be pitiful, be courteous, not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but contrariwise blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that ye should inherit a blessing. For he that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil and his lips, that they speak no guile.
We should come to the understanding that God is worthy to be worshipped, because he is patient with you even when you choose to hate him. If we are going to worship him, we are told how we must do it, in spirit. We cannot worship God unless our spirit aligns with his spirit. We must have his spirit in order for him to take priority in our lives.
His spirit is far more valuable than anything this world has to offer. The only way you can be caring and loving to others is through his spirit. Those that have the spirit of God have the God of love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance. We have the spirit of one that can understand and react to the situation on a personal level. In John chapter 6 and verse 33, it says, It is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life.
The Spirit of God is not selfish, and it does not try to please itself, but it simply wants to be a blessing to others. John 16:13 says, "Howbeit, when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into the truth. For he shall not speak for himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak, and he will shew you things to come." I said that all right.
The reason we feel so sympathetic for people when there is an issue is because we want more than anything to help them. We want to take away their pain. When Melody gets hurt, I wish I could take the pain for her so she wouldn't feel it anymore. I believe this is a God-given emotion. Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 14, it says, "The spirit of man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear?" Martin Luther said, "The first commandment is fulfilled by faith alone. If you were nothing but good works from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head, you would not be worshiping God, nor fulfilling the first commandment, since it is impossible to worship God without ascribing to him the glory of truth and of universal goodness, as it ought in truth to be ascribed. Now, this is not done by works, but only by faith of heart. It is not by working, but by believing that we glorify God and confess him to be true. On this ground, faith is the sole righteousness of a Christian man and the fulfilling of the commandments. For to him who fulfills the first, the task of fulfilling all the rest is easy." In truth,
If we worship him in his spirit, then it only stands to reason that we must worship him in his truth. I mean this in the nicest of ways. We are evil people.
because we are evil, we settle for half-truths, or truths that can get us by as truth, so to speak. We like to hear truths that tickle our ears or make us feel better, but that doesn't prove that the truth is right. If it doesn't make them feel warm and fuzzy, then it must be a lie because it doesn't make them feel good. Someone once said, "The truth hurts." And though this saying is true, the truth doesn't have to necessarily keep you in hurt.
The truth can bring you to the understanding and knowledge. It can help you learn how to correct yourself. It would be quite silly of us to fix ourselves according to lies. Worship God in truth, his truth. The Christ has come.
Verse 25 says, "The woman saith unto him, I know that Messiah cometh, which is called Christ. When he is come, he will tell us all things." The name Christ is used 555 times in the New Testament. Christ comes from the Greek word Christos, which means anointed. In other words, Christ was not his last name. Though it is a name of deity, Christ isn't his biological earthly name. He is biologically Christ because of God, but according to worldly naming, Christ is a name that describes who Jesus is.
In other words, Jesus didn't come from a family of Christs. His father's name was not Joseph Christ. His Father in heaven anointed him. So he is the Christ that was spoken of in the Old Testament, the one that was promised to come.
Some religions believe that this Christ has not come yet, which is the Jewish belief. Some think that Christ has come but hasn't risen again, which is kind of an agnostic belief. Some believe that he was merely a good teacher, Jehovah's Witness. Some believe he was sinful, or rather had bad karma that ultimately got him killed, Hinduism. Some believe he was the brother of Satan, Mormonism. Some believe he has not existed at all, atheism. God's infallible word says he has come and he lived a perfect life and gave his perfect blood on the cross for all this imperfect world and has given us everlasting life.
John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." He's given us heaven through the shed of his blood. We believe this because it lines up with the Old Testament in every way, and the thousands of converts, thousands of eyewitnesses bear record. The 4 Gospels accounts prove the Old Testament, and the Old Testament prove his perfect birth.
It was foretold by prophets, and it came to be in the exact way it was described. Again, eyewitnessed by thousands. This series will help us navigate all the proofs that were given to man so that we have no excuse to not know who God is. Well, if you liked that, you should probably check out some of our other videos if you haven't already. And if you're late to this video, that means the second part of this lesson is already out and you should go watch that now. Or if you want to, you can go back and watch the first lesson. Or if you've already seen the first lesson, go watch it again and again and again. And if you want to get more in depth, you can buy the book. Smack you in the face. Buy the book anywhere that books are sold. You could buy it on Amazon. You could buy it at Barnes & Noble. You can buy it on our website, which is actually the cheapest way if you want to get a physical copy. Or you can get it even cheaper by buying it digital. Until then...